Hi everyone, Olivia Keane here of the Canada Marketing Summit, and today I have Douglas Vermeeren. And Douglas is many things, but he is known as Modern Day Napoleon Hill. He is an author, speaker, award-winning movie maker, featured on Expert on ABC, Fox Business News, TV, CTV, CNN, CBC. The list goes on and on and on. So Douglas, let us know a little bit about how you got here and a little bit about your background.
Wow. Well, it's kind of interesting because I think probably the funniest thing about my background is I was not a good student in school. My marks were not great, and I was a daydreamer, I guess you could say. So, a lot of people didn't have high hopes for me.
Oh,
But when I was in school, no one really taught me about building your own business or that you could be a speaker or a filmmaker. In fact, everyone kind of pushed on me these traditional job opportunities, and so it wasn't
right.
until really I got into college that I kind of discovered that I could be more than what people had told me. And it really kind of came. I ran into the book called Think and Grow Rich, which many people have heard of before, by Napoleon Hill.
Right.
And I was actually working in California at the time. I was selling pest control door to door. Talk about a tough job. Yeah. So
Yeah, crazy.
it was murder. So when I found this book, Think and Grow Rich, I was really drawn into the principles, the ideas that, what you believe you can really achieve. And so, that book gave me the idea of doing these things, but not just the, how should we say, the ideas inside, but I was really intrigued by the sort of the relationships that Napoleon Hill had with the top achievers of his day, people like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and the Rockefellers and that gang. So I actually, while I was in college, set out on a mission to go out and track down the top 400 achievers and so I started interviewing heads of companies, people wherever I could find them and so forth. And, it was really funny. One of my first interviews changed everything because the gentleman that I interviewed at the end said, "You know what, Doug, there's one question you have not asked that you need to ask if you're going to do this." I said, "Well, what's that?" And he said, "Well, you haven't asked me who else I know that you should talk to." And so,
Amazing.
I started getting introductions to like the founders of FedEx, former VPs from Nike, Reebok, the Avita Group, Christian Dior, Jordache Jeans, Eternal Sportswear, all the way leading to people like Donald Trump and Oprah Winfrey and these kind of people. And
Amazing.
so I studied what they did that made them successful. Now, here's the interesting thing where my life changed. At first, I just thought, I'm going to be a speaker and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to teach goal setting and time management.
Right.
These basic
Classic,
things,
yes.
classic stuff everybody else is talking about. But naturally, the things that I had learned were a little different than what the average guy teaches. For example, top achievers do not write down and set down goals in that SMART formula that every corporate group is teaching. They don't do it that way. They do it differently. But the thing that surprised me the most is when I started to teach these revolutionary ideas, in my first 6 months as a speaker, I did $1.6 million in business.
Wow.
And I did a little research, and not even Tony Robbins has done that in his first 6
Wow.
months as a speaker. And so to me, I didn't know you couldn't do it, so I just did it.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
it was kind of funny, but then I had all kinds of people come and ask me, we don't want to learn about this time management. We don't want to learn about goal setting.
Yeah.
Teach us how to make money. And so I went back to my 400 top achievers that I'd interviewed, and then this time I had different questions. It was really all about finance, business, investment, how they made their money, how they took their businesses to a staggering amount of money, and how could I teach others to do it too.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so it was kind of interesting because, Statistics Canada anyways demonstrates that most entrepreneurs, they run their business, but they get to a level of about $200,000, and that's the ceiling. They
Right,
can't get any
right.
higher than that. And then there's a gap, and over that, there's a group that does $1 million and more. And, so really what I wanted to discover is what was it that stopped those people at 200,000, which is where most people stop. And then what was it that took the other group to over $1 million? And by the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about that at your event coming up so that people can start
Amazing.
implementing those tools. Right?
And I guess, from your experience in doing it yourself too, would you say that it's a really different skill, like getting to that upper echelon and from, like the 100,000 to the million?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I was on Fox Business not too long ago, and the reporter there said, you've interviewed all these top achievers.
Right.
What would you say are the top 3 things to take your business to over $1 million? So, of course, live TV, you got to share what you got to share, right? So
Yes.
I gave her 3 things that I thought really quickly, and then when I got on the plane to go home and everything from New York, I was thinking, you know what? I I gave 3 things, but that's kind of an incomplete list. And so what I did is I sat down and I actually wrote a list of what I think the top things should be that a business needs. And there's really 10 of them is what we found. And so I'll probably share those at the event. But funny enough, Random House just approached me. It's also going to be a book coming out soon too. But there are 10 things. And the problem is that most people, if you were to sit down with them, they'd get 3 or 4 of them. They're kind of common sense, right? You understand that you got to market and create a brand and these things. But there's like a $200,000 way to do it. And then there's $1 million way to do it.
Very cool.
And most people kind of are just doing what they know, and so therefore they're just getting results that are typical. And like I said, most people are getting about 3 or 4 of these things, not all 10. They're missing several of these components that, the top business leaders, I'm not just talking about creating $1 million now. I'm talking about businesses like FedEx that is multi-billion. Some of the things, strategies that those guys used to create incredible companies that are like international brands, right?
Amazing, yeah. And you'll be sharing these 10 tips, I guess, at the summit. I feel like you have to now that you've said it. Anticipation.
I think we probably will. So that'll be something fun to share. But, there'll be a few other things that we will talk about. Like, let's face it, your clients, these people who are coming to this event, are in business to make money. Absolutely. And if you aren't making money, you won't get the privilege to stay in business for very long. Absolutely. And the thing that I kind of find is that people start a business because they're inspired by a really great idea, and you have to be. If you don't have that passion for what you're doing, you're really in the wrong business. Right. But if that passion ever fades, or if you don't implement systems that'll allow you to make money with that business, you're going to be in real trouble. Absolutely. And so a lot of what I'll talk about, I think, at your event will be how to really become profitable in your business. I know this is a marketing event. I understand that, but if you don't make money, you can't market either, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so really, the money, I think, is the absolute, how should we say, finish line, if you will. That's why we market. And so I'll share some things probably on what you can be doing to become more profitable. And in a quick way, here's another thing that most people don't know about me. With the strategies of making money, what I did is to prove that they worked. Have you ever heard of the game Bigger and Better, where they take like a paper clip and they go on a scavenger hunt and turn it into, say, a pen, and then the pen gets turned into, say, something bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Got it, yeah.
In fact, there was a guy on the internet who took a paper clip, and in, I think it was 2 years or something, wound up with a small house. So, crazy, hey?
Yeah, like compound growth.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's a scavenger hunt where you trade it to see what you'll get.
Right.
Anyways, I took $1, and in 180 days, without any outside money, I turned it into $1 million, and I did it twice.
Wow.
So, we'll kind of be showing some of these unique strategies on how a person can make money. You see, it's not, people always think to make money, it takes money, and that's totally not true. I always say it's not the resources, it's the resourcefulness.
Beautiful.
Right? It's the resourcefulness in it. And so if you can learn how money is made, especially in business, you can be very, very successful with a really good idea.
Amazing. Well, I feel like the suspense is just building now, and now we have to go see Douglas.
We'll have fun. We'll definitely have some fun. Well, what's interesting? There was a study done at Harvard that says that the average person has $6 million enterprise ideas every year.
Yes. Yeah.
People just don't know what to do next.
I believe it. Yeah, and implementing it too, right? It's like we all have great ideas, but making them, come to life. Well, this is why we got to see you, Douglas, at the Canada Marketing Summit. Well, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to hearing you speak. You can still get tickets and come check out Douglas at the CanadaMarketingSummit.ca. Thank you so much for your time, Douglas. I really look forward to seeing you speak.
Thank you. It's been really good to be with you today.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.